Now, where we're going to dive into the next part of the show, which features Chris Ryan, ex-SAS bloke, talking about a new TV show he's made where he hangs out with hardcore police forces from around the world.
Kerrang! The night before. With Nick Margerrison.
With us we have world-famous ex-SAS soldier Chris Ryan. He's the guy who's written books about what it's actually like to be in one of the toughest fighting regimes known to humanity. Let's get him on. Chris Ryan, thanks for joining us, man.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm all right. As I understand it, you're going to terrify me with stories of infiltrating hardcore police forces across the world. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I've just done a program for Bravo, and it's elite police units, and I've been to places like Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Poland, Kazakhstan, Israel, and Sri Lanka. I train with them for a week, and then we actually deploy out on a mission, a live mission where we go to arrest somebody or to basically take somebody out.
Who was the hardest police force that you infiltrated?
Well, I mean, they're all, I would say they're all the same type of guys, but it's the situation that they work in. Say, for instance, in Mexico, there's 3,000 Mexican policemen killed every year. In Mexico City, when I was there for the month, 100 policemen were killed. When I was out in Brazil, when we went into the favelas, I was working with a really hardline unit called the Boppy, and they've got a fearsome reputation, and they go in hard. And every time they go into a favela, there's exchanges of gunfire. And, when we got out that armoured car, we started getting shot at. But the Mexicans are under threat every single day. And you've got to have some balls on you, to go to work and to put up with that. These lads go home tooled up to the eyeballs. They're under constant threat from... Certainly in Mexico, the cartels will target the police, and there's a lot of corruption. Now, there's a thing called Plan Mexico, where the Americans are pumping in billions of dollars to try and stem the flow of, it's predominantly cocaine, up into the States. And whenever you're dealing with cocaine or heroin, it's huge money and big gangs who are quite ruthless. So these lads know what they're up against.
So what about the money for the Mexican police force? What kind of salary do you get?
Oh, they're on a pittance, mate. They get paid an absolute pittance. A couple of $100 a month.
Why do they do it?
They believe in the country, and they want to clean it up.
And so
that was something that came out right across the board. Every police unit that I worked with, they all were poorly paid, but they just wanted to make a difference for their country.
They're genuine heroes.
Absolutely. I mean, the commander of the unit in Mexico, his predecessor had just been assassinated, and it was one of his bodyguards who had sold out. And the shooter had a set of keys for his house, and obviously let himself in and waited for the commander to come in. So, not only are they fighting cartels, sometimes, it's from their own ranks that, the trouble comes from.
Chaos. It's Kerrang! It's the night before. We got Chris Ryan with us, ex-SAS soldier. He's just spent some time making a TV program where he's been hanging out with hardcore police forces across the world. I understand you went to Warsaw as well.
Yeah, we went in there with a unit called BOA, and they were a hardline police unit that was developed for, it was an anti-terrorist role that they had, but then they started to work against organised crime. It was interesting because we deployed on a mission there to arrest an arms dealer. So I trained with these guys, and they were really hot on close quarter battles. That's fighting in built-up areas in blocks of flats and houses. And then a week later, we smashed our way into this house to make an arrest. But they were good guys, built like brick houses and really tough.
Do they? I've spoken to a guy who did security in Iraq, private security in Iraq, in this very studio, and one of his concerns was he said, it's difficult to be clear about what has actually happened in these situations, because you're being attacked from all, from 360 degrees by people who, there's no way of knowing that they're baddies, so to speak. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my friend, he's got a private military contracting company in Iraq now, and he's killed more Iraqis as a civilian than he has as a soldier, and he served in the first Gulf conflict with me. No, I mean, these guys, when we're working with them, they are very aware of the situations. I was impressed with every single unit of how good their tactics were and how they addressed the different problems. I mean, in Colombia, we were going in and taking out base labs. It was coca eradication.
Hang on, base labs, what's that?
That's where they make the paste for the cocaine. You'll get the coca leaves will be collected, and then they'll use acetone, cement, diesel, and various other chemicals to get a paste. It's the alkaline out of the leaf.
Right.
They make this paste, and then it'll be moved on to an HCl lab where it's dried, and it looks more like the white powder that we know. So we were going in, blowing them up, and then...
Blowing them up?
Yeah, I mean, because what you'll find is in the middle of the jungle, there'll be a large generator there and maybe 45 large barrels of acetone and various other chemicals. So the only way to destroy it is to stick a couple of pound of high explosives on them and then destroy them.
This really does sound like a computer game, but this is real life.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when we finished and we were pulling out in the Black Hawk helicopters, there was about 7 plumes of smoke going up into the air, about 3,000 feet high, and the devastation was unbelievable. When they go in really hard, and they nail everything. We got shot at in the helis a few times. I mean, they opened up, because predominantly in Colombia it's the FARC guerrillas, and they opened up on us a couple of times when we were actually in on the ground, and we pulled away.
So you're in a helicopter and you're under fire?
Yeah. And Black Hawks take some knocking down. I mean, they're a good bird. I mean, I was shot.
Now, hang on, for anyone who's not clear, Black Hawk.
It's a large military aircraft, helicopter. Yeah. It can transport about 18 men. You see a lot of them in Iraq working, and now they've got them obviously in Colombia to get the manpower into the jungle. They're a phenomenal machine, and we were using them. But again, I was using Mini Birds, which is a small 2-man heli, and we got shot at a couple of times in Brazil, and the rounds actually hit the fuselage.
Do you never, right, when you're in one of these situations, do you never think, I can't be arsed with this?
Yeah, damn right I did. When I got into that favela and them rounds were falling at my feet, I was like, oh, screw this, it's only TV. And it was so surreal, because I was standing in a shop doorway, the rounds were actually literally falling at my feet and whizzing past the front of me. The cameraman was stuffed right into the side. He was bricking it, and I just started laughing and just said, this is stupid. But there's one thing, I always tell the crew, and that is just remember, we're just making TV here, and that's it. Because the last thing I want to do is get somebody injured, especially when we're working in the killing houses. There's explosions going off, there's live rounds being fired.
The killing houses?
Yeah, these are ranges, and they're built like a house. And you can shoot 360 in them, you can fill them with smoke, you can turn all the lights off. And you place targetry around, it just looks like somebody's living room. Or you can make it into an office, whatever, and the guys will storm through these buildings. Now, everybody has a killing house. And
these are practice areas, right?
Yes.
So
for live rounds, though, I mean, I've seen people shot on them. That's, in the 80s when we were training in the SES, if we ever got anybody injured, it was always in the killing house because it's so dangerous. You're in a confined area. It's very, very fast, and you do what they call multi-room clearance, where you'll have guys firing in various rooms on various floors, stairwells, everything.
As you're talking to me about all this stuff, I'm just visualising films and computer games, but it's real. That's insane.
You end up sitting there and reflecting on it. And you just take it in your pace. I think if you think about it too much, you wouldn't do it another time. It's just that's the job, and just get on with it.
Because you see, one of the things that I always do when I talk to particularly younger people who want to join the army is I try and talk them out of it, Chris Ryan.
Well, I mean, I guess the fairest thing to do is, the army now, these young lads or women that are in the services earn their money, they are, in a combat. Once they join the army, they'll be in a combat zone within, a matter of months, and it's a fearsome old thing. It can do, it can turn people around. It can, and then. Realistically,
though, if you're talking to someone, about that kind of lifestyle, there must be a part of you that thinks, don't do it.
Oh no, I tell them, I'll say, you're you're going to earn your money far more than I did. And think about it, because it's not as glamorous as it's tried to be made out to be.
It's not glamorous at all. I'd tell them not to do it.
It's they're going to be, living in some shit accommodation. You're going to have some, serious decisions to make, and on top of that, you're going to get shot at. You're going to travel around probably, in some of the most dangerous places in the earth. But hey, it was good for me.
Do you know what's interesting though? As we were saying before, the people that do it, they do it not just for the glamour or the money. They do it because they believe in their country.
Yeah, you're damn right we do. And we've got some good men, on our side doing this and working really well. And they do it because they believe in their country.
They genuinely believe in something, bigger than you and bigger than me.
Yep.
Do you know what? I want to thank you for joining us. I really enjoyed talking to you. Ex-SAS soldier, though, you've been following hardcore police forces across the world for Bravo TV. You're a friend of the show. I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thanks very much now.
Kerrang! The night.